discussing issues that pertain to Africa and the development of Africa, and political issues, social issues, among others. Our basic aim is to discuss these issues so that we make some beautiful analysis, and then our panel members also tells us what solutions there are that can be able to tap in to help the African continent. We also receive most of the time a lot of suggestions from our able audience. Please keep sharing the links so that a lot more people will be able to bring their contributions. Today, we are dealing with another exciting topic. A very good evening to you once again. Thank you so much, the technical team that are back in the studios and pulling strings together. And as you know, I do this program with other learned colleagues who have been contributing enormously to our program. This
This is
program
Jafric Radio.
sponsored by Bayside Modeling Agency. And so you can call us in the office. You see the lines at the beneath the background, and under the lines there, you can call us and do business with us. Today, I have with me Mr. Yahaya. Mr. Yahaya, a very good evening to you. Maybe if you could put on your mic. I think your mic was off, so we couldn't hear you. Yes.
Good evening.
Good. Now I can hear you. Yes.
Good evening to you. Thank you for having me.
It's been a while we saw you on this program. How have you been?
Yes, it's been a while. I took off for one whole month to take part in the Ramadan festivities, and then the fasting to enrich or to re-energize my bond with my God, Allah. So, and during the Ramadan, there are a lot of activities that put me off. So I'm sorry, but now I'm back. Thank you very
much. I believe so much that viewers have been also trying to ask where you have been. So that is the explanation. And congratulations as you've come out from this solemn spiritual activity.
Thank you.
We may be joined by that is it. We are joined by Dr. Smart. Dr. Smart has been with us. He has been helping us even with some of the analysis sometimes. Doc, a very good evening to you.
Good evening.
How is life at your end? Tokyo seems very hot after the Golden Week. A lot of celebrations here and there. How is life at your end?
Well, in my company, we don't have Golden Week. So there was nothing like holiday.
Oh, yeah. I see. So you couldn't enjoy any of the holidays. Wow.
Well, I don't know. Even if there was no work, holiday, you need something. But at least you need something to enjoy the holiday.
This is Jafric Radio.
A very good evening to you.
Yeah, we are grateful to God. We are alive. That's the most important thing.
All right, sure. Thank you very much for coming, and we appreciate your time and your contributions here on Voice from Africa. So today we are happy to go into and dive into another interesting topic, and that is favorable policies in Africa. Favorable policies in Africa. Most of the time in Africa, we have a lot of policies. In fact, on this same program, Dr. Smart and Mr. Sedu have reiterated that it's not about the fact that we don't have laid down rules or regulations or policies, but the problem has always been the implementation. So, as for favorable policies on the region, we have been able to document some of them. But today, let's turn a little bit on the trade policies. Maybe later we can bring more other policies. If you look at trade, there are a lot of things happening on the African continent where um, the African leaders are advocating for intercontinental free trade. But this comes with a lot of challenges. If you look at um, some challenges like language barriers, some challenges like rules that are made to suit certain cultures. When you look at something like customer care, when you look at others like returning a product when you don't even like the product, as in if the product is closer to you. These are challenges that have been crippling these kind of policies in Africa. But today, let me open up the question a little bit. Um, what are some of the policies, international or even continental Africa, that does not really favor individual countries, and we need to think and do something about it? I think this is a very open question, and maybe if you have something in mind about any policy that you may think that, well, it may be good, but it's not ripe yet for us to kickstart it. Um, Mr. Yahaya, can you help us with that? Can you help us on that front?
Thank you very much, Mr. Siedu, and good evening to your cherished listeners. And as I said earlier on, viewers, I was a bit busy trying to reconnect with my God. So that is what took me away from this platform. But Alhamdulillah, we are back with fresh energy, and we hope to move together and do our best to help our mother continent, Africa. Thank you. Well, Mr. Sedu, your question is very broad and well, it is open but very broad.
Mm.
What I would say, so far as African continent is concerned, see, the continent has been implementing different development policies, which may fall under different umbrella of development. So it become a bit difficult to be able to pinpoint one and say, because they all correlate and one moves the other. And but there are main ones that are able, when when implemented or when achieved, it should be able to move the rest together so that what we call development will come or will follow. So you earlier on you were talking about trade uh, economies or trade development.
Yes. Maybe
Developing
let me lower it. Let me narrow it down. In Africa, we have what we call the African Continental Free Trade Area. Is it a good policy? How do we?
very
Yes, yes,
very good policy. You see, it is always said inside out, inside out. So if you are within Africa, you should be able to trade among ourselves so that our markets become very big and strong. robust before you could move more into the international scene. But when your market is very small, then you are moving into a bigger market. It becomes problematic because no country or no individual or company is independent. We interrelate. So once we are a cluster of countries and we have common border, which we don't need air traffic or sea traffic to cross or to trade, whereby we only need land, some places even walking distance to be able to achieve that. It is better and appropriate to be able to trade among ourselves, open up the market, have a common currency, and that will make the continent very strong, robust, so that whichever market is going to integrate into our own will have a bigger platform to be able to do whatever they want to do, and for us to also benefit and decide for our benefits. So intercontinental trade is very important, and it is very good policy if it is able to, if we are able to implement it. But there are challenges. So if those challenges are tackled before moving directly into it, I think it is not a bad policy. It is one of the best, but the implementation, as we keep on saying, is the problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Smart, I don't know if you share the same idea with Mr. Yahaya, but obviously there are challenges. If you look at countries like um, uh, tiny countries, like a country like Togo, for instance, it cannot, when it comes to agriculture, it cannot produce much compared to Nigeria. So when it comes like that, the productivity level are really different. And as an economist, you may want to bring in economies of scale. Obviously, Nigeria can produce at a cheaper cost than maybe Ghana or maybe Togo. Now, if there is these policies such as free trade, let everybody brings in. As Mr. Yahaya is saying, it has its own advantages. What are the real impacts and some of the issues that we have to deal with in Africa before some of these issues are able to really help us develop? Because yes, of course, free trade will be a big deal in Africa. It offers a big platform for consumer and for the buyer. Now, how do we manage the challenges that comes with it, rather than just throwing in, yeah, we want to do free trade, we want to do free trade? Even ourselves, we have poor investment, we have poor transportation to even transport the goods or the products we produce from one village to another village. Talk less about sending it to another country, another continent. Doc, what are your views, please?
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, I also share the same view that much as the topic is very interesting, is somehow broad for us. So we try to narrow as much as possible that we can. And so I think first of all, let me mention that if we specifically we are looking at trade and trade policies, nature is very beautiful, and so there is nothing that is evenly distributed on the planet Earth, not human natural resources. So nature has its own geographical dictations that determines how, for example, sovereign states should interact with each other. If you look at it, for example, from perspective of natural resources, of course, for some critical natural resources of that has, been or that have been very important in driving, if you like, starting from the Industrial Revolution in Europe and the post-war, the Great Acceleration, and so on. Some of these critical resources, let me be a bit biased of saying, let's say that energy resources are not in any way evenly distributed. So it is kind of an even distribution of resources that's warrants trade. So it's like practically at the local level, it's like what you have something, I need that. I also have something probably you don't have. So how do we exchange for that? The barter system has come and it maybe is still operating somewhere. So these few geographical issues form the basis for international, trade policies. I don't think there's time to go into the theoretical issues, but it is important to also look at it from this perspective that trade policies do not emerge out of vacuum. Trade policies, every state to have whatever trade policy with which kind of country. There are always domestic reasons, domestic considerations, and also, for example, what kind of relationship one country has with other. Then also, if you look at Japan, for example, Japan is a net, energy resource importer, or let's say oil net importing country with that much energy resources, and therefore, its decision to join others in the world could be much different from, let's say, from country to. So if we bring it to the African, I think for the fact that the African continental trade policy, I mean, these are the Communist agenda from time. It's long overdue. It's now being expressed in the agenda 2063 or whatever they call it. My point with that question is there is long overdue, and it's time for us to get serious because the world is not waiting for us. Whatever challenges are, we need to face them for good. Yeah, so it's a good policy. The challenges, well, if you are serious, we can deal with them with serious leadership and so on. So that would be my initial comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe, Mr. Shedu, let me come back to you about the challenges that are crippling this sector or the trade issues. Um, it has been around for some time. I mean, I back as in 2019, 2018, people have always spoken about free trade, free trade, free trade. And it looks like, of course, it's making wave, but it's not getting the advertisement it should get, in my view. Do you think that the challenges has overwhelmed our leaders? And do you think we've done enough, if it's possible? Because obviously, other countries, Doc was talking about the fact that yes, of course, resources are not evenly distributed. But if you look at a country like Ghana with all the resources, and if you look at another country with less resources, now you would use money to buy those resources. You get it? You need those monies to buy those resources. So why free trade? Why should we allow people to dump their goods in our countries, and which has rippling effect on producers too? Because obviously, in fact, there is this issue where people have argued that when they send their products into other countries, the products are being imitated and produced locally and even transported into other countries or exported into other countries. These are real challenges, practical challenges that we are being faced on the African continent. So, how do we overcome these challenges, knowing that free trade is also important, as you and Doc has already established? How do we overcome? How do we circumvent around that problem?
Thank you very much, Mr. Sid. You see, let me take it from this angle, or let me explain this. When we talk about free trade, you mentioned that goods are dumped. Why do you have to allow yourself for goods to be dumped in your arena and what have you? When people copy or abuse copyright and what have you. Indeed, when we say free trade, it doesn't necessarily mean that you just pack your goods or load your goods and send them and go and dump them somewhere.
This is Jafric Radio.
There is always a standard that is being set. So the producers of from that country, example Togo, Nigeria, if you want to bring ABC products into Ghana, this is the standard that we've set for ourselves. And then the community, that the policy makers, they have the standards there, and they should have the will and the truth to be able to analyze the product and be able to satisfy it. When a product is not satisfied, it doesn't meet the market requirement, then it will not be allowed to be carried or transported to one region. So if that commitment is not there, that anybody just got up and just produce anything and just push it to where they think it has a demand, it is going to fail completely. So the policy makers, the implementers, they should be there. The board, they are there. I know they've set up that board already. The board should be there to be very transparent and open to each other and be able to set up the rules. There should be a rule. There is a rule that they all follow. So if this product does not fall under the standard that we've set for ourselves, then that product will not be allowed, irrespective of whoever is coming from. And then the board too, the manager should be able to resist handshaking. Okay? So if somebody is powerful, he has money, as is being witnessed on the continent at the moment, that he thinks he can produce anything and he's able to pass through, move through, because he knows the top officials and will be able to. If that thing is not able to check, they are not able to check those loopholes, then the policy of free trade in the continent cannot hold. It will come back to square one. But it is not just open as we hear it, that people just get out. No. When you come here, the Asian continents, they have that among themselves. And you are in Japan here, you know many of the products in Japan comes from China, but it conforms to their standard. And it is checked. And the managers are truthful and honest with each other. So if Africa is not able to build such team and set trust among themselves, then forget it. It will come back to eat us. So it is not about having the product, producing the product and pushing it to the market where you think, no. They should set the standards and follow the standards and follow the laws and follow the procedures. And when they are able to do that and they manage it for a period of about 10 years, when they streamline everything, I bet you they are going to be strong, and it's going to help the continent to liberate themselves from the international or the colonial masters. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Doc, can you handle the same question with your contributions? What do we do?
Um,
How do we circumvent around the problem?
well, yeah, I think from my own understanding that a lot of things that we use today, like if you take, let's say, airplane, nuclear energy, we have what. All these things came when men or politicians some period to cause how you know, you know, kind of it. So a lot of from some kind of negative over time, human beings we change them for our benefit. So to make a point that uh, free trade, as Mr. Aya said, it's not like trade that doesn't involve exchange. It is a way of liberalizing the restriction, the geographical boundaries. What are the exigencies along, between states or regional exigencies, the difficulties? Removing those to promote free flow of goods and services, exchanging those goods and services in domestic or regional demand in order to boost economic development. Demand and supply are very critical in, you have to look at the labor market and the general well-being and economic development. So demand and supply vary, but in Africa context, I think that there have been a relationship between us and the West, which is always called in the trade, literature as beggar than neighbor. So beggar than neighbor theory is where developing countries in general, especially those in the, uh, you know, uh, those in Africa and Asia, export raw materials to the Western economies at very cheap price, and then we end up importing manufactured goods very, expensive, which takes away normally our foreign exchange. So, if I may ask the question, for example, how many bags of cashew nuts do you need to buy iPhone 12, iPhone 10 Pro? How many cashew you need? How many bags of cocoa do you need in order to buy one single laptop? Even a pen drive. So look at this relationship. So the thing is, how because of these kind of differences, we have to export more, getting less, and also buying less and spending more. Becoming kind of strain on our balance of payment by account and all that. So how do we create a regional system whereby we can have this free flow of goods and services? And also, I mean, we should have identity. We should have identity as Africans. And Nkrumah reiterated this a long time before he was thrown over in 1966. So it's difficult because you don't have like any data and then looking at how things have gone far over since the starting point of the argument going for free trade zone. What are the challenges? I don't have the literature to make a solid argument, but from my lowest point of view in terms of just having some relational thinking, I'm thinking that yes, we can navigate around it by first having solid regional infrastructure system, railway infrastructure system, very important, our airport and so on. We have these resources already in place. All that we need is the leadership. What we need is leadership and serious leadership, not those who will be in affairs and taking our money and hiding them in tax havens in Europe and the Caribbean. Yeah. So those we put in position, if they are not going to continue their usual parochial serving their parochial interests, of course the time has come for us Of course, Africa is the last one, right? See, Asia has been the hub of growth in the 21st century. So we are last now. We are last. So once there are initiatives ongoing, we can't wait anymore. We have to push the agenda for that, irrespective of the difficulties. Of course, when we learn from the difficulties, that is where we will grow. That is my thinking. I don't know if I've answered you.
Yes, you've answered.
Yeah.
US, thank you. We are still on the favorable policies in Africa, and we have been dealing with trade policies. Is trade policy good? Is it bad? What are some of the lacks to deal with? You can join the conversation and bring in your comments as we move ahead. Yes, Doc, you mentioned a very important issue about pricing. And Mr. Sedu, I want us to narrow our conversation down to pricing. Now, Africa is one of the largest exporter to Europe. You know, if you look at the percentage in 2019, they recorded about 33% export contribution to export to Europe. Now, there is this argument that, and Doc rightly mentioned right now, that most of the time, the price, the cost at which these things are bought at a cheaper price, and it is due to selling raw materials. Now, if we have a continent, very solid trade, and a robust system, African robust trade system, can these leaders lead our charge for proper pricing of our product, like our cocoa, like our cashew, like our grains? Why is it so difficult to rally together? I mean, unite as a continent and charge the price that is expected to due out. What do you think is the problem?
Um, Thank you, Mr. Siedu. Pricing will be difficult for African until they liberate themselves. You talk about 39% export to the European countries or to Europe. What does that contain, or what is contained in that 39%? Is it cash crop? Is it consumables? Or what? Mostly, if you go into this, you realize that it is cash crops and then maybe minerals. That's all. Food is out. Meanwhile, we have the richest land. Okay? We cannot develop our land to be able to compete, to be able to farm, in mechanized farming, to be able to compete their markets. So what are we talking about? And two, if it is about cash crop, let's talk about cocoa, as you mentioned. We buy our cocoa with syndicate loan. What that means is we take the money from them, from companies from the outside, the European there, then we come and buy. Definitely they will dictate to us. Because it's like you bought the thing, you are taking it to him for them to decide on what price to buy, to give you a token. They will make sure that you don't lose, but you are not going to gain. It will be from hand to mouth, just a little, because they are detecting to you, and they want to make margin, or they need to make profit out of what they gave us. So it's like you take the money from them, you come and buy the thing from the farmers, and then you take it to them to sell. Then you come back to the farmers, and then the farmers, they are individually engaging in the farming. It's not government. Government doesn't have hand in it. If there's not even support Okay? So at the end of the day, it comes back to square one. And when you go to the mineral, it's the same. Gold, bauxite, what have you. All we do is the industry, the companies are coming from that area. The governments of Africa are not able to put up companies to be able to refine these things and are able to sell it at a finished product to them. No, they come, exploit it, take it away, even take it there to refine, and then they detect. So in this case, we are bonded. So that 39% that you heard about is not something that is coming back as 39%. No. It's coming back in different for more smaller portion. And even 39% that they put it there, many, much, a lot much is not accounted for. And it is a deal between the leaders, the managers, and then the companies who explore. That is it. So this is our problem. The honesty is what we are talking about here. The political will is what we are talking about here. If those things are able to be, we are able to do those things the way they are supposed to be done. The policy implementation, if we implement it, even if it is one policy, we implement it to the fullest. I have no doubt that within a couple of years, we can bounce and own ourselves. But is our leaders ready? They are not. So we are not thinking about moving from hand to mouth and then move into the industrial machines economy. Once we are not ready to do that, we will continue to remain or even more become poorer. So if you take Asian countries, for instance, all of them, their industrial, all of them are developing through the industry. They create companies and manage them and make strict laws. And people are punished for their mistakes. They are punished for their ignorance, are punished for their little greediness. But can we do that? We hide. So, my brother, the 39% that you hear is not just 39%, it is even more than that, but it is all cash and then cash crop and mineral. And then all those things, the money comes from them. So they take to us. So it's like you take it to them and then they give you something small token. That's all. So until we are able to do it on our own, forget it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Doc, let's consider why are we not, because sometimes you think about it and it's unthinkable. How is it that a people of 30 million, 20 million, 50 million people in African countries, why is it that we cannot produce something that is tangibly, suitable in the international market, such that we always borrow money, we pump it in the economy, we don't see where it goes, and industries that can help turn raw materials into finished goods and then send back, we don't get it like that, and we don't get the amount of money we are supposed to get out of export. Is it that we just don't know how to manage things, or what is the challenge? What are we doing wrong? These are begging questions in my mind.
Yeah. In philosophy,
This is Jafric Radio.
there's something called the human essence. The fact that we are human beings. Human beings, And what makes us human beings, them is that we have, and if you will expand the agency, it is the effect of our actions, isn't it? That's what guides everything about law. If we take law and everything is about the knowledge of cause and effect. That's the simple summary of life. Believing in a cause and effect. So I will say that if we make choice, whatever choice we make, of course we are going to get the outcome. If we decide that as a continent that's about we around is around 1.7 now statistics, we are the second largest continent in the world, and so the reason why we are not moving forward is simple. If you read the Kwame Nkrumah's neo-colonialism, if you understand Nkrumah's point, what really he was talking about in the neo-colonialism agenda is when you see that the former colonial powers physically disappear on the continent, but they are with us. How are they with us? They are with us in the sense that they are using our own leaders to create, neo-colonialist metropolis. Look at our leaders. The fact that our politicians fall sick, they don't go to African hospital, they take plane and go on. That's to tell you something. They are not close to what the majority depend on. Okay? They are not close to the ordinary person's life, and therefore they are not prepared to take any initiative, short term, medium term, long term, to address the fundamental needs of their citizens. So I want to always sometimes move away. Okay, sometimes I want to move away from blaming the colonial administration. But there is an extension to that. We have the knowledge now. We have the knowledge now. And I do argue that where we are now, we are fortunate as a continent because if, for example, we want to produce large-scale agricultural products, we can carry money to the market and buy tractors, combine harvesters, and other modern farming equipment. But if we have to invest in research and development, that will take us decades to come out with the same, sophisticated farming equipment. So if we have the willingness, the V8 we are buying, if we can, our leaders are the number of V8 our leaders are using, and how much fuel they are, blowing fuel and money for a lot of things that if you are not patient enough, you're going to use some vulgar words on them. If we have the commitment, it is possible to direct the same resources towards acquiring strategic, modern technological equipment, which is much easier than if we have to develop them. So we have opportunity. In the past 100 years, we say we were in a colonial, and therefore that explains our underdevelopment. But now we cannot go to that again because we must have the willingness. That's why I talk about the cause and effect. If we have the willingness that we are going to own our resources, it is possible. It is possible if we have the willingness. Okay, so in effect, the whole thing narrowed down to leadership. The whole thing narrowed down to leadership. We've seen Paul Kagame receiving a lot of praises and admiration, and seeing Rwanda becoming a model of development on the continent of Africa. Why? What did he do differently? You understand? What did he do differently? And more also, maybe one thing that I would like to say last about this is the fact that, you see, educational curriculum of every country is supposed to address the fundamental needs of that particular country. So, for example, if we know that we have gold, we have diamond, we have bauxite, and all strategic minerals in our soil, why don't we develop our faculties? Why don't we develop the human resources that we need to tap those resources. Instead of, for example, we say we have oil. Do you know how much we get? We get only 10%. The
Less
oil
than.
we have. Yeah. So if you look at it, how you owning the resources, you are getting just 10%, as you said, less about what I heard was 10% of that. I mean, what are you doing? Especially when you come to find out these finite resources where the current generation using them means that they are non-availability to the future generation. So for me, it's about leadership and how we think. Yeah, it's about leadership, how seriously we are. Otherwise, we'll be talking. I mean, people have been saying some of these things. If you listen to Kwesi Pratt Jr., very solid on this particular topic, how do we take ownership of our own destiny and manage our natural resources? You understand? And then for the benefit of the citizens on the continent of Africa. And that is the essence of driving away the colonial, imperialists, is to take solid, control over our resources. But here we are, the resources we have, the new colonialization is going on. We have the resources, but we are not in control. How do we do that? China just emerged recently, and China is taking control of our resources. Where were we? After going through 100 years of humiliation, China now has come forward, just like the Europeans did, and are engaging in a kind of trade that are not mostly in our favor. So it's a headache for all of us if we want to talk about this thing. But we have to keep on advocating. Okay, that's it.
We have to. We
This
have
is
to keep
Jafric Radio.
Um, I mean, we don't have all day. I wanted us to speak a lot on this topic, but time is running so fast. Dr. Yaya, Mr. Yahaya, as we are almost, drawing the curtains down, what is the way forward? What is the way forward for future policies, not only trade, but what is the way forward for future policies and future policy makers? What do we do? We were discussing some, I was discussing something about it, as you said, how we should channel our energy into how to help our country. How do we channel the new generation? And how do we give them a kind of education, as Dr. Smart seemed to say, so that they would help us solve the basic challenges, policy challenges on the continent?
Mr. Sedu, thank you very much. You see, Africa, as I said earlier on, has been implementing many policies, but halfway. Or sometimes when you observe them, when you sit down to observe how some policies are being implemented, you realize that either there is no political will or they are confused. But the confusion, I think, is high on the table. Because if you take a policy, like if you take health sector, you can't develop the health sector properly without having good rules. If you want health to reach each and everybody in the country, which is clearly without health, there is no the population will never be in any good shape. There can be no hope for sustained economy. There can never be a hope for any sustained economical growth when the health of the people is not good. In the same way, when you take about the consumables, fine. How can you do that without good rules? You cannot do it. You need to move products from here to the other end and back. In Japan here, all the agricultural products are being produced, even Tokyo, if you take Tokyo here, for instance, they are being produced in the next or the three regions ahead. But every day, trucks are able to go and bring it because they don't have stores to keep them. So the trucks are serving as a cold room where they convey or they carry the goods and brings them because there is connecting roads.
Yeah.
If you want to use the local road or you want to use the highway, depending. And they do that without anybody feeling anything. But can you say it to our distance, our environment? This is the problem. Again, if you are talking about education, you can never have a good education now without the internet. But what is the cost of internet? Even if where there is the internet, what about electricity? There is no power, sustained power, stable power is not there. And when stable power is not there, it affects all those things. You understand? So to give people good education, as we talk about now, you need a stable internet and cheap because everything is moving into the digital space where all the information is being digitalized. So the instructors should do a lot of research on the net and are able to get proper and able to put together a very good handout for their students. But are they having that? No, they don't have. These are some of the challenges. You don't just have to look at the internet just like that. There are a lot of things that goes into it. So you don't have stable internet. The internet is not connected to every region. There is no sustained power. Power is not sustainable. So all those things come into play. The health aspect is there. So before we can achieve, there are basic things that we need to concentrate. And the policies are there. They are very good. But the will to do the commitment is not there. So once those ones are not there, it is quite strange to be able to say that you have a timeline. You can't even decide. You can't even say talk about any timeline where Africa or for that matter Ghana will be able to say we can move from this space to this space by this time. Whereas other countries are able to do it. So the expertise are there, all right. But because of minor challenges of this nature, they can't even give themselves timeline. Just like yesterday, there are so many reasons. Let's forget about it, my brother. The best thing to do is have good. The best thing, let's have good rules for ourselves to be able to connect properly. If you want to connect, we have African free trade, and we have to have good rules, and we have to have set the standard and follow the standard and have the
Follow the
political will,
standard.
follow the political way to be able to implement and crack the whip when people violate it. And when that is, we are able to achieve that, we're able to get to where we want to get. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Dr. Smart, your final words.
All right. I want to make it brief.
Hmm.
Like my professor always say, talking much is not a plus. Um, he said talking too much is not a plus. You know, if you take the documents I have with me here, the African Charter on Human and People, which was ratified in 1981, Article 22, I'll read the clause number 1 and 2 to you, if you permit me. It says that all people have the right to their economic, social, and cultural and due regard to their freedom and identity and equal enjoyment of common heritage of mankind. Then it further says that states shall have the duty. So I'm not a law student, but the word shall, when it is used in a legal document, it means that it is mandated, right? That is
Yes.
the legal that shall is interpreted in a legal document. So the state shall have the duty individually or collectively to ensure the exercise of the right to development. So this is something that our leaders signed as far as in 1981. This document is there. This African document in 1981. So what else do we need? You see that the state as a duty bearer has a duty of promoting the right to development, and therefore every person, every African has the right to quality education, the right to potable water, the right to internet access, whatever, to make life quality one. This is an obligatory, it's a positive obligatory on the African leaders. What's happening? What else do we need? Now, if you take the Agenda 2063 document, if you read that document, it's more than any romantic anything. The wedding and everything, you fall in love with them. You fall in love. We are talking about equity in distribution of resources on the continent to promote equitable development. But here we are. If you look at the statistics and what is happening on around us, our leaders are taking what belongs to the present generation and also taking what belongs to the future generation, motivating them and creating wealth in tax havens. What else can we live in such a contradictory world and expect anything good? We can't live in this kind of, we'll be laughing at ourselves. So it is time that we get serious. But I believe that there is a kind of revolution that is taking place. Martin Luther said it in 1968 that there are critical revolution taking place. Unfortunately, there are some individuals who are sleeping while this revolution is taking place. The leaders would have hard time if they don't, I keep on saying, like, if they don't direct our resources, the resources of the continent provide means of survival and also improving the well-being of the people on the continent. On the trade side, infrastructure is number one. Infrastructure is number one, and we have the means to do them. We have the means to do them. If we can, for example, stop constructing cathedrals and then rather construct technical universities and transform our natural resources, that makes sense because as a student of economics, at least I have some ideas in economic theory called the big push. That was what Japan did. Japan never constructed cathedral because there is no any theoretical or empirical relationship anywhere established a relationship between cathedral and economic development. There's no any theoretical or empirical evidence that establish the existence of cathedral and life expectancy. We don't see it, except in maybe our civilization, which is Ghana more or less a new country on the mass. It's something that we need to look at. We need to cut down this nonsense. We should be bold enough to call those things nonsense and also direct our energy. Otherwise, if we dance around this kind of hypocritical thing all the time, talking, nothing will happen. It's time for us to take action. Thank you.
Thank you very
Mr.
much for
Let me read this when I pose a question to my supervisor, what he think about Africa. Look at what he sent.
yes,
What
Mr. said 1 minute. 1 minute. Let me allow you.
okay.
Okay, 1 minute. Let's go on, please.
Okay.
You can read.
He said,
Yeah.
African economies can continue to grow and transform to sustain economic growth, but they will need support to overcome certain obstacles. To sustain the commitment on the part of national government, and their citizens. So have you seen? So
Yeah.
this man has studied a lot about Africa. So he sees Africa to be able to do whatever they want to do. That means they have the policies there already, but they need support. The support, when I further probe, he said the support is the political will to crack whip, to consider importance. Okay, like doctor was just saying, uh, cathedral. You are building cathedral, whereas people cannot get a place to sleep. Students cannot get classroom to sit, and then we know the basic of our education. The backbone of our education is the basic side. Because when you read psychology, will tell you that a child should be able to determine or to be convinced to be able to take decision from 6 to 14. So by the time a child is 14 years, he should be able to know exactly what he is or she is about. Here is the kid, he's sitting on a classroom on a bare floor where a cathedral is being built.
This is Jafric Radio.
Sitting about the mark between us and our God, where countries has made it without giving attention to God. Meanwhile, it doesn't mean they don't know God, they know. But God also say you should help yourself. So that God never said we should build for him and then leave ourselves. So excuse me to say, to also add that doctor's words, I completely subscribe to it. It is just noises. Africa has what it has to take, and we need to do what we can do and to support ourselves. The support he said here, I asked so many questions, and he said the support that he's talking about is ourselves. We should be able to think. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This has been an interesting one, even though you all initially said the question was so broad, but of course, we are able to narrow it down to this. Sometimes I ask myself, I mean, this is just common sense that as a parent, you have your child's school fees to pay, and then you say, no, I want to contribute to the funeral first before I pay my child's school fees, which harbors on your education, the education of your child. Or another very good example is you are hungry, you have money to purchase or buy food. You say, no, I want to buy a laptop first, or a television first, or a wristwatch first before I buy food to eat. You will die. And that is the dilemma of and the paradox of African leadership. You are in need of a basic necessity, Maslow's law, the theory of need. And you have to start from the beginning to the highest. And you have a scale of preference. You say, no, let me start from the other side of the river and then come to. Well, we as social commentators and experts, we will talk. It's up to the leaders and the policymakers to also draw and tap into the knowledge of the diplomats and then use it for the development of our nation. I want to thank you very much. Mr. Yahaya, thank you so much for your time. Doctor, thank you so much for your time. I know you sacrifice a lot to come here. All of
This
you.
is Jafric Radio.
And we want to thank the technical team back in the studios for your enormous support, and our audience who have been watching live, and even after we record, you watch it. Thank you so much for your audience. Fortnight by now, we will meet again and still discuss another issue for the development of Africa. Thank you so much. Have a very good evening. Bye-bye.
Hi guys, you are watching Jafric Radio. I am Abdullah from Ethiopia. Jafric Radio እየተመለከታችሁ ነው። ይመቻችሁ። Ababaning Kaito.
Ẹ káàárọ̀, ẹ káàsán, ẹ káalẹ́. Orúkọ tèmi ni Ọmọdọ́lá Oyèyẹmí, ọmọ bíbí ìlú Ìbàdàn. Jafric Radio lẹ ń wò yìí o, ẹ múra sí i, ṣe púpọ̀.
This is Jafric Radio.
You are watching Jafric Radio. I am Abdullah from Ethiopia.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Namiko et vous regardez Jafric Radio.
Come home to royalty. Welcome to Adosu Royal Hotel, located at New Pomo, Akosombo. Nestled in the heart of New Pomo, Akosombo, where the river flows and the breeze whispers peace, lies a sanctuary of comfort, elegance, and love. Adosu Royal Hotel. The moment you arrive, you are not just a guest, you are a family. At Adosu Royal Hotel, love is abundant and every detail is designed with you in mind. A beautiful room with a view of the Volta River, clean cribs bedding, and a local decor. Relax in our spacious air conditionings. Wake up to the serene views and the sounds of nature. And yes, sumptuous breakfast, always with a smile. Whether it's business, romance, or a weekend escape, Adosu Royal Hotel has the space, the taste, and the grace. Come home to royalty. Adosu Royal Hotel, Akosombo, where love meets luxury. Contact us on 0242 980453 or 020-813-7933. You can send us email at adosuroyalhotel2@gmail.com. Thank you.
Established in the year 1995, the Jospon Group of Companies has become a major source of innovation and sustainability across Africa. The group is dedicated to driving development across diverse sectors and has 76 subsidiaries with the vision of being the most successful holding company and a mission of improving the lives of people. The subsidiaries are categorized into 8 dynamic clusters to provide focused and efficient operations. The Environment and Sanitation Primary Cluster, the cornerstone of our operations. This cluster is vital for effective waste management and sanitation services across Africa. Leading this charge is Zoom Lion Ghana Limited, the largest waste management company in West Africa. From public cleansing to waste collection and transportation, we prioritize maintaining clean, healthy public spaces and promoting sustainable living. Our waste collection services span residential and commercial sectors, employing cutting-edge technology and skilled personnel for efficient, eco-friendly operations. Emerging from this foundation is the Environment and Sanitation Processing Cluster. Key companies like Integrated Recycling and Compost Plant, IRECOP, Accra Compost and Recycling Plant, ACAP, Kumasi Compost and Recycling Plant, KCAP, engage in sorting waste into organic, plastic, and combustible materials. Sewerage Systems Ghana Limited treats and transforms wastewater into usable components. From these, we produce compost, recycled plastics, and alternative fuels, and enhancing resource efficiency. This cluster is also home to our unique medical waste facilities, which uses a microwave technology to process medical waste, safeguarding public health and safety. Others include Zoil Services, Dredge Masters, and Zoom Lion Waste Transfer Stations. Our waste-to-energy initiatives focus on harnessing advanced technologies to transform municipal solid waste, organic waste, and other biodegradable materials into renewable energy sources such as electricity and heat. By capturing methane from waste decomposition and reducing landfill dependency, we are significantly lowering greenhouse gas emissions while promoting energy self-sufficiency across Africa. The technical and logistics cluster encompasses businesses involved in manufacturing, automobile services such as sales and servicing of heavy-duty and light-duty vehicles, and logistical operations. It also supports sectors such as ports and logistics services. It further undertakes industrial and logistical activities, ensuring seamless service delivery across multiple sectors. Commercial and Allied Services Cluster is skilled in customer-facing operations, which includes multimedia and hospitality services. By providing a comprehensive suite of services, it enhances operational efficiency and supports the group's diverse business activities. In here, we have companies such as AH Hotel and Conference, with unique setting for any local and international meetings. KNUST Africa Institute of Sanitation and Waste Management, which is a capacity building initiative in collaboration with KNUST, as well as Appointed Time Printing Limited, leading in cutting-edge technology in printing services, including corrugated packaging initiatives. A media group, Ignite Media, which is made up of Metro TV, Original TV, and Original FM. The Financial Services Cluster provides a comprehensive range of financial solutions supporting the group's diverse financial needs. Key companies include Omnibisic Bank, Millennium Insurance for General Insurance, Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, Kimpton Trust for Pensions Trust, Union Capital for Venture Capital, and other investments and various digital payment platforms. This cluster offers financial stability and growth opportunities, underpinning the group's broad array of business activities. Information and Communications Technology Cluster focuses on three main areas: device assembly, software development and data science, fintech and cybersecurity. The group aims to become the business efficiency solutions provider in Ghana. Agriculture and Agribusiness Cluster focuses on reinforcing agricultural productivity and food security. African Agribusiness Consult, AAC, the key player in this cluster, is predominantly involved in the cultivation of rice and other grains, alongside various other farming activities. By leveraging advanced agricultural techniques, this cluster collaborates with scientists from various institutions to enhance crop yields and quality, contributing significantly to food security in the region. The Property and Real Estate Cluster addresses the growing demand for housing and infrastructure, involved in developing innovative real estate projects that enhance living and working environments. This cluster ensures sustainable and resilient urban growth, meeting the needs of modern urbanization. International operations underscores our ambition to expand across Africa and beyond, with footprints in Asia and America, driving global partnerships and international business development. The Jospon Group of Companies is dedicated to driving sustainable development and innovation across Africa. As we continue to grow, we remain steadfast in our commitment to making a positive impact on society and the environment. Jospon Group of Companies, fostering sustainable development through partnership.